The Shiyalongubo Pass is located in the northeastern corner of Mpumalanga, close to Barberton and the border with Swaziland, now known as Eswatini. The pass forms part of a trail that was originally established by Robert Pettigrew, after whom the nearby Pettigrew's Neck is named, to avoid the tsetse fly infestation along the primary route from Kaap Maiden to Barberton, which tracked the course of the Kaap River through a low-lying valley. The name Shiyalongubo translates as "leave your longings behind" and is derived from the belief that items such as warm clothing and blankets would become unnecessary when descending from the high mountains into the hot low-veld valleys. The road is usually in a fairly good condition, but it does deteriorate rapidly after bad weather, and a 4x4 will be required to traverse the entire route, in particular the logging section on the western side. There are a total of 64 bends, corners and curves along this pass, so drivers will be kept very busy. Of those 64 bends, 11 of them are in excess of 90 degrees turning angle, and that includes the two hairpins. Most of the sharper bends occur along the northern side of the pass. The pass offers a tapestry of focused gravel road driving, coupled with impressive low-veld scenery, waterfalls and forests, and all of these are intertwined with pioneering gold mining history. We filmed this pass from north to south. The northern start is at a low-level bridge crossing of Lowe's Creek just before the mine, known as the Barbrook Mine. This is immediately conspicuous by a very tall tower which can be seen from some distance away. The road bends sharply to the right at the entrance gate to the mine and passes underneath a metal conveyor trolley system. It then begins ascending quite gently at first, remaining on the left-hand side of the river. At the 1.1 kilometer mark, the road passes under a large set of electricity pylons where a fork appears. The better used option appears to be the left-hand one, but it makes a big U-bend and returns to the mine. Make sure that you keep right here on the lesser used section of the road. There are many vertical cuttings along this pass, and coupled with heavy rainfall, it is subject to mudslides and rockfalls, so be aware of this if you're driving this pass after or during a spell of heavy weather. At the 1.2 kilometer mark, the first major bend occurs, which is a right-hand bend of 160 degrees. The radius is not a true hairpin, but it is nonetheless a tight corner, and to add to the mix, the gradient also picks up on the apex of this bend to 1 in 10. A few more gentle bends follow, with the gradient remaining between 1 in 8 and 1 in 10. The views to the right are impressive, as the valley and river form a wide landscape of greenery smothered in dense bush and forests. The real action begins at the 2 kilometer mark, where the first of the true hairpins appear. The first one is a full 180-degree left-hander with a very tight radius. It's necessary to reduce your speed to 10 kilometers per hour for this bend. Both of the hairpins are obvious points where traction will become an issue in wet weather, and it's best to maintain some momentum through these bends to prevent a stall. The apex of most hairpins presents a small area of construction where it's usually safe to stop and fairly level, which is a great place to stop and take photographs. Once through the first hairpin, the heading changes from south into the north as the road continues climbing steeply via a 90-degree right-hand bend, but with a very wide arc, this time leaving the views to the left. The second hairpin appears at the 2.3 kilometer mark and turns to the right through 170 degrees with a very tight arc. Like the first one, speed needs to be lowered to 10 kilometers per hour. The next part of the ascent remains quite steep as the road turns multiple times, more or less following the contours of the hills. There's a stark contrast between the vivid green of the hillsides and the almost red color of the sand and rocks in the cuttings. At the 2.7 kilometer mark, there's a small stream that has damaged the road many times in the past. Recently, a new culvert has been constructed and a small set of safety railings mark the very sharp 90-degree right-hand bend. Going back into the history of this pass, one of the original prospectors to discover gold in the Barberton area was Auguste Roberts, better known as French Bob. As a result of disputes with George Pigott Moody, the Surveyor General of the Transvaal, he, together with Bob Watson and David Lowe, left the mines on the western side of Barberton and began investigating the De Kaap Valley at the Three Sisters. David Lowe found gold on the banks of a small stream and founded the Lily Mine, naming it after his youngest daughter. Be sure to watch part 2 of the Shiyalongubo Pass.